Hey, man.
Hey man, what's up?
Oh, just getting together again. Going to put something out for the folks. So,
Heck yeah.
what have you been working on?
Well, I'm working on some personal stuff, trying to get because I had some issues with my right hand, so I'm trying to get my dexterity back to where it was. And I got to do the. You asked me to do a bio
Yeah.
for our Patreon people, and I did Professor Grieve, which is one of the more. I think he's a very interesting character that you came up with, and especially with the how he disfigures himself to be perfect. Um, but
So you said you were working before we hit record. You said you
yeah,
were working on his voice. So,
yeah,
so
I'm
you're
working
trying to
on.
give me an.
Oh
Go
yeah, well,
ahead.
it's. I started out doing Mark Hamill's Joker, um, but I'm like, no. So I kind of started because I'm a big Vincent Price fan. So I started. I was watching House on Haunted Hill, and so I'm like, wait a minute. That I mean, Vincent Price is the king of horror. Um, so maybe if I can kind of blend the two,
Yeah.
and sorry, my eyes itching. Um, and sorry, folks out there. We're doing video now, and yes, I do have the looks for radio. So, but so yeah, I'm working on that, and of course, I think Tammy thinks my wife thinks I'm crazy because I'll be in here by myself, talking to myself, trying to get the voice right. Um,
Right.
but yeah, hopefully, I can get it down to where I can slide into it like I can with Otto and all those guys. Um,
Yeah. So if so to say something there is, obviously this is another Who the Hell Is episode,
yes,
right?
yes,
And so I asked you, I said, well, who would you want to do? And you said Professor Grieve. Now, for whatever reason, you like Professor Grieve a lot. And he's only been in three stories. And I say
yeah,
three. In one story is where when we're first
right, right,
introduced to
right.
him, it's just there at the end,
Yep,
and we don't even tell who he is, we just describe him. And it's in Who's Afraid of Big Bad Death?
right.
And where the guy keeps getting killed over and over and over. But what we find out is that his purpose, he could not be killed by
Hmm.
the evil darkness in Nevermore Hollows because he was supposed to save that child from being dragged into the woods by Professor Grieve.
Or as he put it, this guy whose face looked like a jack o' lantern.
That's
So
right. So we didn't, at that point, that was just all I had of Professor Grieve. And so then I wrote another story of him where he took the liberty of taking Rory and Stevie,
yeah, don't mess with the boys.
right?
And
And
but I think you know serial killers and people like that are very interesting to me. Um,
yeah,
and I think Professor Grieve is he has qualities um, that make him very aloof, but also very basic. So it's interesting that he can go from because he is highly educated, very well-to-do type person, but then he can get down to where he's very basic and caveman like. Um, so yeah, I and trying to prey on what he considers weaker people,
hmm
but with the boys, he found out ain't happening. Um,
right.
you
So
know,
with that, talking about Who the Hell Is, right? So
yep,
you're already getting into that. You're getting into some of his traits.
right,
So why did I create Professor Grieve, and how is he evolving when you and I are speaking about him? So Professor Grieve obviously was a professor, and he
mm,
is an elitist,
yep,
right? Now, like I have a lot of teachers in my sphere. You're married to a teacher.
yep,
My in-laws are teachers, and but and they're great people, right?
yep,
But at a certain level, I also know a lot of professors. At a
uh huh,
certain level, they become elite. Now I'm painting with a broad brush, right?
Right.
There's professors out there that have changed people's lives for the good,
Yeah.
but there's a certain level where you become, you know, in certain cases, professors can become very elitist because they think they're the smartest person in the room. A lot of your professors, especially in your higher education, like your Harvards and stuff like that, they are atheists. And what
Yeah.
I mean by atheist, let's define atheism, because I get asked this a lot. Now, obviously, our fans are pretty savvy when it
Yeah.
comes to this. So this is for the folks who are maybe not
Uh-oh.
so savvy that come across us. You know, atheism is a belief in nothing. It's
Right.
very nihilistic. There is no God, there is no devil, there's no spiritual world. It's just we're born, we suffer, and we become worm dirt,
Yep.
right? Well, that's who Professor Grieve is. He doesn't believe in anything. So what makes him a unique character in Nevermore Hollows is that all of our other bad guys are aligned willfully and openly with darkness. They
Yeah.
accept the darkness. They accept that there's a good versus evil happening. Now, some of them may not believe in God and the devil, but they believe in good versus evil.
Right.
Not Professor Grieve.
No.
He is his own God.
Yes. He believes he is perfect and has tried to
Yes.
make himself so.
Well, and in a defiant way, because when he's had people, as we've mentioned, if you read the one story where I go a little bit deeper with him, he doesn't like it when people go, "Oh, humanity is created in God's image." Well, he doesn't believe that anyway, but
Right.
he's so offended by that he says, "I have a better idea of what beauty is. It's
Yep.
whatever I choose it to be," and he
Exactly.
carves his face, and
And files his
so
teeth, which, carving your
yes.
face is one thing, but when you file your teeth to a point, that,
Yes,
but he wants to have that one, his actual appearance will cause horrendous fear.
that's right.
But then you also put him in a tuxedo type suit. He's very
Right.
elegant. Um, and also he likes tradition and in the fact that he has acquired the actual supposed actual knife that Jack the Ripper used, when he created all his mayhem. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of things going on with the prof, and but just from the three stories, I just have this sense that he believes that his victims should be thrilled that he chose them to be to be part of his world,
Yeah,
and but he also uh thrives off of the fear that and but even with the boys as they fought back, he started telling them exactly what he's going to do to them and how he's going to
yeah,
do it,
yeah.
and
He's
to
he's
build
one of
fear.
those types of people that cannot understand that people don't want to worship him, even though he doesn't believe in a god or a devil. A lot of your atheistic people become their own god,
Yep.
and I know that because I used to be an atheist for many years.
Yep.
You and I have talked about that offline,
Mhm.
and it started out as just rejecting some stuff that I was brought up in, and I became an agnostic. Well, an agnostic and an atheist are it's a very thin line. You can't sit on the fence. You got to choose a side, right?
Exactly.
Well, I decided at some point, well, the side I'm going to choose is that there is no God or devil. Well, I can be thrown in the middle of a football game and go, I'm not playing the game, but guess what? The game's still being played,
Yeah, you're
right?
going to get hit by
So
one side or the other.
that's right. So, as things happened in my life and some supernatural and spiritual things, we've talked about the supernatural
Yeah.
things that have happened to me in my whole life. I got to a point where I'm like, what? Wait a minute. I have had these supernatural experiences my whole life. how does that fit my atheistic world? It didn't. So I had to accept something. I had to accept, okay,
Yeah.
I can't be an atheist and not believe and know for a fact that I've had supernatural experiences. So I was being disingenuous to myself.
Uh-huh.
So with Professor Grieve, he does what a lot of atheistic people do. He falls into the fact that I am the center of this world. And
Yeah.
so when you question it, or things don't go the way he had planned it to go, like with the boys in that scene, it doesn't register with him. He
No,
doesn't realize that he's failing. He sees that he can't fail because, one, he's the smartest guy in the room, and two,
exactly.
whatever his will should be, it should manifest.
Right. And one, when you believe you're the smartest guy in the room, you've already failed.
Right. And see, that's funny. Now that you say that, if you look at the way we've written a lot of our good guys in Nevermore Hollows, there are times that it's just them pitted against the evil, and they have to figure it
Right.
out. But what you can also tell is that there's a network that they all pull upon.
Oh, yeah.
And especially the core people, they go, I'm not the smartest person in the world. I've got this piece of information. I'm going to share it with Sheriff Mosley. And Sheriff Mosley says,
Right.
well, I'm going to share it with Ivan or Alyssa. But they understand that the good guys in our stories, even if some of the stories it's just pitted them against the evil, they understand the power of community, the power of
Right.
family, the power of friendship, and what that means in our battle against the darkness.
Yes. But the
So let me
professor, he also is a student of Aleister Crowley, who is
yes,
another giant Fruit Loop. As I put in the bio, Professor Grieve is a self-made freak.
yes,
He's done all these things to himself, um, and under the guise of Crowley, who said, "Do as thou wilt." And so
right,
that's what he believes. He could do whatever he wants to, and it's fine. And again, the heroes in our stories prove him time and time again that he is wrong.
yeah.
And I would love to see in his head how he's trying to rationalize the fact that all his well-made plans were thwarted by people that he considers beneath him. You know,
Oh, yes. Good point. So on that, let's square this up, because we know for any of us who have ever even just stuck our toe in studying the occult, we understand how massive of a figure Crowley is.
yes,
Now, Crowley did believe in good versus evil, and he rejected it. But if you
yeah,
look at his form of belief system that he was creating, it literally was centered around him. He wasn't so focused on Satan. He wasn't so
yeah,
focused on I mean, he did try to conjure a demon, which he ultimately did, that he called Lamb, Lam.
uh-huh,
And as an aside, if you Google that picture that he drew of Lamb, this is in the early 1900s, before the whole alien thing. You know what
yeah,
Lamb looks like? A
uh-huh,
modern gray alien,
yeah,
right? So,
hmm,
but his approach was very atheistic centered. Even though Crowley, even though he believed in a good versus evil, it came from an atheistic point of view of which what got him to write, the do what thou willst. That's the whole of the law.
yeah,
You're your own God, is what he
yeah,
was saying. Where Satan says you can be a god, Crowley was his own God. So that's why, even though Crowley believed in the supernatural and um and Professor Grieve does not, he
mhm,
still likes that fact that I can do whatever I want. So
yeah,
he picks and kind of he does what a lot of modern Christians do. They pick and choose what they're gonna
right, right,
accept as real and fake from the
yeah.
supernatural.
But there's such a big dichotomy the word of his, he is disfigured his face in protest against good, and but he wears a very fine suit. He lives in the trailer park, but he also drives a very nice car, you know. Um,
Yeah.
so he's very almost
And it kills him.
go
It
for it.
kills him that he's living in the trailer park, by the way. It
Yeah,
kills him, right? Because
yeah.
but he's again he compartmentalizes that this is a temporary thing. So anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, he's very Two Face like in that, there's this and that. There's such a big difference in between the sides of his personality, and you know um because of that, in the bio I put that he's a foodie, and he likes very expensive and exotic foods. So I could just see him in the kitchen of the trailer that he rents, which is probably not a very nice kitchen, trying to make things that he's had to have shipped in,
Right.
or tried to find locally, that and that's another frustration for him, I'm sure. Um, and
Yeah.
and the people in Nevermore are like, you know, I don't know who this dude is, but who keeps ordering this weird crap, Um,
Right.
and he's got, I'm sure, he also turns heads with the car, um, and just how he is. And I'm sure the people in the trailer park um, are quite interested. And I, I, when I was thinking about that, I like, the Brousseau sisters probably would find him quite attractive, and I'm sure,
Yes, they would.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm sure he doesn't like that at all.
No.
So it's that would be an interesting thing of them always trying to bring him stuff. You know, we made some extra whatever. Would you like that? And him just like, very
And it's something he would it's something he would never eat. Yeah,
right,
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 because of his elitist attitude. Yeah.
yeah.
His
It just kind of, you know. But I think that's funny. And of course, um, I'm sure Granny Dingo knows everything about him. And
right. Yeah, because Granny Dingo she's a lot of information there in her head that we've not tapped yet.
right,
So let's talk. We keep talking about his image. So he when he kept hearing people go, "Well, we're made in God's image," and he decided, "Nope, I will create my own image,
yep,
and I will carve people up whom I feel might represent the best qualities of God's image, like
exactly.
the boys or something like that. I will
Uh-huh.
carve them up." Why do you think he chose the whole jack-o'-lantern scheme?
Well, jack-o'-lanterns were originally made to ward off spirits, and they have become um, almost a jovial thing now. Halloween, it's like, oh, the happy jack-o'-lantern. There's jack-o'-lanterns everywhere. Um, but I think he likes to invoke fear. He likes for his subjects to be um, terrified of him. I think he gets more out of the kill that way. And so,
Mhm.
also, if we were made in God's image, he's going to go the completely opposite of that. And so he chose, you know, to disfigure himself in such a way that, it's almost like, flipping the bird to God.
Yeah.
Look at what I did. Um,
Yeah.
and but I also wonder, how does he? I never thought about it until just now. How does he actually function? Does he wear some kind of disguise? He's got to be have to go out.
Yeah.
Even if you can get things delivered, he's got to, is he a onceler that just, you just see an arm to come out of the door, and, you know, cause, I don't think I never really see him doing DoorDash. In
Right,
Nevermore, I just don't see him eating fried catfish or chicken. But,
right.
so he's got to be able to get out and do things. So I didn't think about that until just now. How does he pull that off with the face? So does he wear a mask? Does he have, one of those expensive latex masks so he just kind of looks normal? Um, it-
Or,
or
or, or, you know what? He is such a defiant character, such the center of his own world, such a god that he just does it proudly.
yeah, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
that's a thought. But then, so I think, I don't know. I guess maybe, I don't know. That's something we might have to look into, because then when he does stuff, they'll just, especially with the boys, they can describe what he looks like, and it's not like he
Yeah.
can say it ain't me. So, yeah, I don't know. That's weird. I didn't, like I said, I should have thought about it, but I didn't think about that until just now.
Well,
Um,
so that's something that, I would be curious to know for the listeners. What do you think? How do you think, does he hide himself? And does he stay squirreled away and segregated in his
yeah,
trailer in Nevermore Hollows until the urge builds up that he wants to kill again or
right.
mar somebody's, visage? Or does he move around town boldly? Now, this is a good point where we can say this. We put up character bios in Patreon. We do one a
Yes,
month,
yes.
right? We pick a
Mhm.
good character, bad character, you name it, whatever, and you have been helping write those. You've been taking doing the lion's share of work on writing those recently. And the one for Professor Greaves, your bios keep getting better and better and better. And I really love some of the things that you did
Oh,
in
okay.
fleshing out Professor Grieve. So
Right.
for those of you who are listening, one, tell us what you think. How does Professor Grieve
Oh,
move
yeah,
about
yeah,
town,
yeah.
or does he? Number two, if you're so inclined and you would like to help support the show, become a Patreon member and you get access to our dossiers. And they're on. You'll hear, or you'll get to read, because these are
Right.
something we put up. It's not us speaking it or recorded. It's you can read the dossier. So
Yep.
we've got them for Isaac White, Winona Crow, Sheriff Mosley, and we've got it for Granny Dingo. And
Yeah.
now Professor Grieve will be going up this weekend. And so just, there's three different levels there to
Mhm.
support us. And all levels, once you support us, you get access to the dossier. So
You
be
also get
thinking about doing
access to
that.
some other cool stuff. I mean,
Yes.
we have a secret show that,
Yep.
that our Patreon members get, and you get artwork, you get, all kinds of stuff. So there's some swag, involved, and then some more entertainment,
Right.
that comes your way. And so we try very hard for our Patreon people, and we're very thankful for them, because they're awesome folks. And when we get to meet them, it's even better,
Yep.
and we have met a couple, and they're awesome, and we have a super fan, and she's pretty cool. So, it's fun. And I've really enjoyed doing the dossiers, because it makes me think, and
Yep.
I get to step out of the stuff that I'm dealing with, and figure out who these people are. And I can have fun with it. Um, and because, like I said, you create such interesting characters, it's fun to play around in the sandbox that you've given me.
Well,
Um,
I'm glad that you're having fun with it, because we've talked about how you know the characters so well, you know the world so well. So why not let you continue to flesh out some of these characters and stuff? So I'll tell you. So one of the things I thought was funny here is you said. So how we do it, for those of you who not looked at our Patreon and look at the dossiers, it's you just log on and you go to the dossier part, and it'll say name, age, race, gender, occupation, special skills, you know, physical traits and special training and in first paranormal. It's just a bunch of stuff of like, what if you were building a file on somebody, what would be the most important stuff you'd need to know, whether they're good and on your
Uh-huh.
side or evil. But what I love about yours is you put under occupation this time, you put academic, comma, psychopathic killer.
You know, that's his job.
You're right. Yeah, but I got tickled when I read that. I was like, well, that's right on the nose, but that's exactly it. You're categorizing what this guy is in the Nevermore Hollows universe. So let's do this. So he's an elitist, atheist. He doesn't like his image. He doesn't like any reference to good or evil, especially God.
Right.
Being an elitist, he's going to be, I am better than everybody, which we've touched on. But
Uh-huh.
so what we're going to find out in future stories is that because he's an elitist and he's probably a eugenicist, he believes that certain people are just born lesser than the
Uh-huh.
others. And so he's really into euthanasia. He hates kids. Obviously,
Very much.
a lot of atheists I've known, not all. Again, I'm painting with a broad brush because I used to hang out with some um, occultists and witches and warlocks and all that, self-proclaimed, and all that played a role in me going, I don't want to be part of this lifestyle,
Yeah.
which helped me redefine what I needed to believe in. But anyway, so he hates kids. A lot of your atheists do hate children and
Right.
are pro eugenics. So I mean, he embraces all that new agey kind of concept of only the few the few intelligent should have rule over all the rest. And he's probably into the whole Georgia Guidestones things of there should only be 500
Oh,
million
yeah.
people on the earth,
Yeah.
because you can control 500 million more people than you can the supposed billions that are on the earth
Right.
today. Now, you brought up his Jack the Ripper affection, okay?
Mhm.
And we've hinted that maybe not that is the his favorite blade is the one that Jack the Ripper used.
Right.
So we'll just go ahead and say it right now. It is. He has found Jack the Ripper's blade, and I've got a story kind of in the back of my mind of how we know that for sure
That's
that is
cool.
Jack the Ripper's blade, but you and I need to flesh that out before I write it.
Right.
But so obviously he loves how Jack the Ripper just his techniques and the way he taunts and the constabulary of the time.
Right.
And so um he thinks he's the smartest guy in the world. What
Uh-huh.
else do we need to tell the folks about our Professor Grieve?
Well, it's I also put down that it's possibility that the blade is haunted.
Now
Um,
that was something when you put in that I went, hell yeah. Cause I
yeah.
hadn't considered that. I was like, dude, so I've got this story idea, Chris. I haven't run it by you yet. I've got this series of stories that I want to tell where there's a collector of um there's two groups. One group is trying to collect all these things and take them out of the hands of the evil people, and then the evil
Okay.
people are trying to collect them. Whether it be Jack the Ripper's blade, whatever it is. It's almost like that old short-lived Friday the 13th.
Oh, TV show. Yeah.
Yeah, TV
Yeah. Yeah.
show. I mean, there's been variations of that theme for 150 years or more,
Right.
where people are trying to collect, occult items or cursed items. But I was thinking in Nevermore Hollows, maybe there's a couple of, you know, a couple of groups that are competing to try to get those. One to keep it out of the hands of evil, and one because they're
That'd be
trying to get them.
cool.
Now that gets me to a character I haven't had a chance to throw at you, and I know we're talking about Grieve, and we'll come back and wrap Grieve up in a
That's
minute.
cool.
But I've got this new character that I've been working on, just trying to flesh him out. But and it dovetails into what we're talking about now. I've got this character that I want to set in the 1950s,
Okay.
and he's kind of like a Nevermore Hollows Indiana Jones. Okay.
Okay, cool,
And
cool.
what he does is he travels the world and gets in all these adventures and he collects these occult items. And I think I'm going to call him, unless we can come up with something better, Hank Rubicon.
Ooh,
And
I like it.
so he, yeah, so what we have to figure out now is, one of the things that we love to do is we love to take, we try to be original as possible, but every now and then when we can't be as original as possible, we try to go, okay, how can we take a story, because there's nothing new under the sun, how can we
Right.
take a story that's been told and put some redneck whimsy or
Oh, of
white trash
course.
whimsy and some redneck gothic to it, and how can we change it? So be thinking about, what would Hank Rubicon look like? How would he what's that character look like as he's traveling the world and getting in all these adventures and gathering up these occult items? Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? I see him as a good guy.
Yeah, I see him as a good guy, and as soon as you said that he's in the 50s, I almost see him now like he's one of the guys that the boys visit,
Yes, because
you
he's
know.
older now, and they love
Right.
hearing his stories. Yes,
And he's got a cabin somewhere, and they bring him whatever. I'm sure that they might volunteer to bring him groceries or something, just in
yeah.
in exchange for stories of Hank Rubicon and
Yeah.
how
And funny, it's funny you should say that,
that's
because
cool.
literally how I realized in my mind, I said, without having the character fully fleshed out, the boys will be coming to him, and these will be told in first person by Hank Rubicon. So,
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
yeah,
That'll be fun.
yeah. That's cool. I even see. I told you when I first started listening and drew all the character sketches that when you tell stories, I see stuff in my head, and right now I see him sitting in a big overstuffed chair, and the boys sitting in front of him with McCready at his feet,
Yeah.
and possibly Junji sitting in his lap, and
Yeah.
just him regaling them with stories of adventures wherever. And now I'm starting to see stuff on the wall behind him, like a mounted Yeti head, or
Yeah.
something, and it's just stuff, you know.
Right.
And well, it was like our buddy James. I told you when I first walked into James' house, it's like walking into Indiana Jones's office. That's
Yep.
and so yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, that's a great idea. I love it. That's another
Yeah.
layer.
So,
That's cool.
yep. So be thinking about how we can, so already what you've said is great. So be thinking about, what does the character look like? Does he have any type of ethnicity? And how would that if there was some sort of ethnicity, how would that stop him or limit him or cause him to navigate the world in 1950s? Things like
Oh,
that.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
so so let's turn it back to Professor Grieve and wrap it up.
Yes, sir.
So Professor Grieve is currently, as far as I can remember, and this is my ADHD brain working.
Yep.
You know how it is as a creative. Sometimes you create so many things with so many layers. You go, oh wait, I forgot that I drew that thing, or I or
Right,
I
right.
wrote that song, or right. So, but at the moment, as far as I can remember, he is the only evil person in Nevermore Hollows. He's the big baddie that
Uh-huh.
doesn't believe, that isn't aligned with anything supernatural.
You know what? I just thought of something.
Yeah.
Just to throw it out there to you,
Yeah.
because he doesn't believe in evil.
Right.
Yeah. What what if Psycho Juju shows up at his house one night?
What would that look like? Right.
Just for a visit. Just
Yeah.
for, just kind of let's see. Um a friendly discussion uh between two somewhat like-minded individuals.
Yeah.
Like they
So,
almost sat down for a meal.
yeah. Well, look, that's a fun concept. We could do that on in a couple of different stories with different characters. But no, I like that. But my mind immediately goes to the fact that Professor Grieve would think that it was some sort of wonderful, brilliant human mind that put
Yes.
the ability in this monkey to speak in a human language and do the things.
Right. Right.
So how would Professor Grieve explain away some of the things like that Psycho Juju could do, like snap his fingers and disappear in an oily cloud of smoke? How would he, being someone who doesn't believe in the supernatural, and his world will not be rocked, how would he deal with that?
Well, I'm sure he would deal with it like that it's just a trick. It's all done with smoke and mirrors and technology, and it's just a trick because,
Yeah.
like you said, in his mind that could not exist. And I think that'd be fun. But anyways, back to the prof. Um, he's very well off. He doesn't have to worry about money, so he can work on his um, plans for Nevermore Hollows without being inhibited by he can't afford it right now. Um,
Right. I
and
would take over the world if I just had money.
yeah, darn it. But then I put that something out there, and you said you liked it. Is that he has a um, horrible fear of cats,
Yep.
and cats, ho- house cats are the
Yeah.
only cats that have slitted pupils. And
Okay.
I read this. I read this rather recently. It's only been about a year ago, and I went, "No, they're not." And I started looking at big cats. You know what? They don't have slitted pupils. Um,
Interesting.
and the theory behind that is that
Yeah.
because they have slitted pupils, they can see into the other world. They can see evil. They can
Yeah.
and certain traits that our little household predators have, and they are predators. Um,
Yes.
or like if they sit with their back towards you, they're protecting you. Um,
Interesting.
and it's a human thing. It's very, very human thing that we take this thing that is deadly. I mean, house cats are, and one of our buddies, um, Justin over at Cryptids of Corn hates cats because he said they can destroy everything that's in an ecosystem because they'll just eat it. Or if it's a house cat, they'll just kill it. Just it's in them to kill. But we
Just to
bring
have
them into
fun.
yeah, but we bring them into our homes and think they're cute, you know.
Yeah.
And there's a small cat. I forget where it is. It's one of the smallest breeds of actual cat. Um, and it is the most prolific hunter on the face of the earth with a 60% kill rate. And I mean they're tiny. They're the size of a maybe a 2 or 3 month old kitten. That's when they're grown. But these things are vicious, and they're these tiny little things. So I think when I wrote that, as soon as I wrote that, I went because our friend Junji, who is the sentient cat, um, is he can see evil, and you know he hangs out with our heroes a lot. So I almost had like when the professor's if it's a story where he's about to do something that can cause a lot of harm,
Yeah.
and then he looks outside and his trailer is completely surrounded by cats,
Okay.
and
Interesting.
Junji is sitting on the front porch of his trailer and starts talking,
Right.
and
So,
and
yeah.
and and puts the professor back in his place. And again, he's terrified, and also that cats are very mystical in a lot of um places around the world. As far as Egypt and cats play a part, and they're very secretive. So and people, I know people who are terrified of cats. And they don't know why. I've met a lady. She was straight up terrified. I'm like, okay. So, that's, I just think that was interesting. We could probably, um, delve into why,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, because that's interesting. What is it in his world? What's happened in his life that makes him terrified of cats?
right.
So so good.
But
All right. So go ahead.
no, it's just, like I said, they are predators, but they're also something that, if one of them comes at you, you can defend yourself against Tabby, you know, but, but like I said, there's got to be something in his background that he is just straight up terrified. Which here's the Professor Grieve. He is disfigured. He has a cursed or haunted blade. He is a predator himself, and who will do as he will and go and kill wherever he wants to kill, and then an 8-pound tabby cat can put him in his place. So
Right.
I think so. Almost, it's like he either goes out of his way to avoid them, or and that could be another trait. Like if he's stalking someone and a black cat crosses his path, he's like, nope, not tonight.
Yeah.
And everything's shut
Interesting.
down.
Yeah. That opens up possible story ideas with
Yeah.
him and Junji. Yeah. Maybe he and Junji, it could evolve that he and Junji are mortal enemies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We need to do more with Junji. I like Junji. I
Yeah, I
like
got some more. I got some more Junji stuff coming up. I just got to find the time to write them, and which gets us to a wrap up point.
yes,
Yeah,
sir.
because today is going to be a writing day. I've
Oh,
finished
cool.
I've finished the first and second draft of the Sabbath Black
Oh
story. So
boy.
I hope by this afternoon to be recording it, which obviously you're going to do some voice work on that. But with that, we will do this. This has been our presentation of one of Chris's favorite bad guys in Nevermore Hollows,
Oh
Professor
yeah, man.
Grieve. And we hope that you like hearing these types of stories and seeing behind the veil. If so, please comment. Leave us
Yes.
comments on YouTube. Go right now. We are not getting enough interaction on 5 stars and comments on any platform. We're just not. And the best
Mhm.
way to help us grow is to leave comments, leave 5 stars, share with people. We need to see more interaction so the show will grow. The more the show grows, the more stories and content that come.
Right.
We're kind of in that, you and I are not free enough to go, well, this is all we're going to do all day long is put out content for our
Yeah.
fans and to try to get more fans. We're not there yet. So the only way for us to get there to be able to give more content is we gotta have interaction now
Yeah.
to kick those algorithms in. And we would appreciate anything that you folks would do to grow the show, by sharing, liking, commenting. Um,
Please.
um, yes, and if you're so inclined, to throw us a few coins, as Brother Nelly would say,
Yeah.
at Buy Me a Coffee, or to subscribe and Patreon, and know that historically what we've been doing is 20% or so of whatever we take in
Mhm.
first goes to a charity, a local
Yes, it
charity
does.
that we
Mhm.
know, yeah, we've vetted, we know it's a good charity and it
Right.
helps people.
Yes, it
And
does.
then the rest of that money just stays there until we need some equipment or we get invited to a con, and
Right.
that's where that money, it stays in the little coffers there.
And
So anyway, with that,
like Alan said, tell us what you like and tell us what you don't like. We want comments. You don't got to be
yes,
mean, but if you say, "Hey man, I didn't agree with this or whatever," you know, we're two guys who like to get in discussions. So, let us know and
Yeah,
we'll get back to you. Um,
right,
and because that's just who we are. But
right.
yeah, just tell us either way. And if you love us, thanks.
Yeah.
We really appreciate that.
Well, I can tell you right now because I see more of the comments than you do, and
Right.
it's just the way we're currently set up.
Hmm.
But I have yet to see a bad comment. The worst comment we got was when we put Night of the Nom Noms out, which was a
Yeah.
huge story for us. Dude,
Yes.
people loved Night of the Nom Noms. But the funny thing is our most negative comment ever was, this was a kid's story. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what it was. You nailed it.
But right, we always get very encouraging comments when people do leave us comments. They're awesome, they're so encouraging, and sometimes they come because for those of you who follow us who are creatives, you get it. You get
Yeah.
it. You pour yourself into this, and then nobody says anything. What Chris and I want, we don't want somebody to go, Nevermore Hollows was okay. We want you to love it or hate it,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
Every artist wants a visceral response.
Yes.
If you just go, then we didn't do our job, right? So
Right.
if you go, oh my God, I hate those people, I hate that story, whatever, great, we did something, we pushed a
Right.
button,
We brought something out.
right? Or if you go, oh my gosh, I love that story, or I love those guys, or I love those characters. I
Hmm.
love that podcast. Well, that's even better, because we're
Yeah,
getting
it
a
is.
visceral response in the positive.
Right.
So with that, folks, we love you, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you like
Yes,
this
we do.
content. And we will be signing off now. And we hope that you have a great day.
Y'all have a good one.